I'm praying the Aaron Rodgers train comes to a screeching halt, and I really hope Dak just like circles the stadium where the fans are at the end of the game and tells them, "I own you now. Now I own you," because Rodgers is leaving at the end. Rodgers is gone, so I own you.
And we're live. Let's go. This is the Dos Padres podcast. I'm Major J. That's the Sundance Kid. We're here covering Boston sports and so much more. And Sundance, we are here with another packed show this week. What do you think? I think we got a lot to talk about. We've
NFL playoffs.
NFL playoffs on our doorstep. This week is our playoff preview show. We talk about the Pats going to Buffalo, but also we are going to be running through the other games this weekend as well. Plenty to talk about there. We are also going to be welcoming a new guest later on in the show to talk about one of those games in particular. We'll get to that in a little bit. Something that we're going to have a final, I'm sure you'll be happy to hear this, final update on our NFL picks, little friendly competition.
Great.
And we're going to close it out with another 3 and Out. Should be a good show. Sundance, as usual, lead it off. What you sipping on?
Tonight, I'm being sponsored by Green Out by Alvarium Brewery here in local New Britain, Connecticut. So
that's an official sponsorship. You know what? You
yet.
Waited to surprise me with that, and I appreciate that. That's fantastic.
Not official yet. The contract is not yet signed, so we'll hold off on that MOU. Okay. It's not official, but I would like to sponsor them if they're interested. Green Out is the beverage of choice this evening. What say you, Major J?
Well, given the fact we're celebrating this big occasion this weekend with the Pats getting back into the playoffs, I figured I would celebrate that with trying to just clean out all the junk beers in my fridge.
Right.
So I actually moved back into a leftover Dogfish Head pumpkin ale, which is fantastic in January. Let me tell you.
Yes.
Yeah, but in a Patriots Super Bowl champions glass.
Love it. Well done.
It tastes a little better coming out of this. Let me tell you.
Okay.
Fantastic. All right, so before we get into some playoff talk, let's do a little rundown of the past week in Boston sports. It's been some interesting stuff there. First off, obviously, Red Sox, MLB lockout, not much to talk about there. One thing, though, however, a nice thank you to John Lester, who went ahead and retired a couple days ago. He ends his career with 200 regular season wins, Sundance. Instrumental in 2007 World Series championship, as well as 2013. Also helped the Cubs to an 2016, World Series for the Cubbies there. He won game 5 and 7. Instrumental there. You could pretty easily call him a postseason hero for both teams. Sundance, World Series ERA 1.77, 2.51 postseason ERA. I did post a little something up on Instagram this morning, just asking the question. It's worth at least a conversation if he's in the Hall of Fame. I'm not saying he is, but at least it could be talked about just based on the postseason merits. 200 wins is still nothing to scoff at regular season at this point either. So I think he might get some votes once he gets out there in 5 years. I'm not saying he'll get in, but either way, we got to recognize what this guy did for the Sox in Boston. So tip of the cap to you, John Lester. Thank you for your contribution. That's pretty much it on the Sox side. After that, we got the Bruins, who are actually playing right now as we speak. This is recording this on Thursday night. Home, Tuca is in the middle of his return in between the pipes against the Flyers. I believe it's 3-2 going into the third period, but Bruins have heated up. We got a 3-game win streak. Hopefully going for 4 here. They've won 6 of 7. They beat Tampa and Washington on the road. Cassidy messed around with those top 2 lines, changed the combos up, and it's paying off because Marchand and Pastrnak are on fire at this point. Bruins still fourth in the Atlantic, eighth in the Eastern Conference, 42 points, but hopefully moving up. There's still a bit of a gap there, but we'll see. But you got Rask. Rask is back. I think that's going to fire up these vets. They did send Swayman down to Providence. He had an option, but he's still a future, so I'm sure we're going to see him back again because they are now tied to a disgusting Linus Ullmark contract. So he's pretty much going to be rotating with Rask, but good to see him back. Good to see him back. Bruins got Nashville and Washington coming up this week as well at home. So Rask will be tested in at least one of those games after tonight against Philly. But Bruins, hopefully the upswing, and then we get into the Celtics, Sundance.
Yeah, really quick, before we hit the Celtics, to cap off the Bruins, you bring up a really good point there.
It happens. Usually I save him for you, but by all means.
Well done. Barely 5 minutes into the show, and you have hit on a solid point, which is the psychological aspect of sports, right? And pretty cool that Rask is back with this team. I don't know how many people saw that happening, and physically, I wasn't sure he'd be able to do anything for them. But geez, I think you're onto something there with the psychological aspect of it, where he comes in and he's a well-respected veteran. I think he could really help this team down the stretch, just from a rah-rah chemistry guy in the locker room. Definitely.
Yeah, no, I think that's hit or miss from locker room to locker room. We know this in sports, et cetera. In this particular situation, the vets, they love them. They're a close-knit group. It sounds like they're ready for them to come back. In theory, you should never need someone to come back to split a spark under you. If you're not playing well, you should be able to, in theory, you should be able to get up yourself. But you know what? You're getting a friend and a close teammate back. It's always going to be something that's going to kind of get the juices flowing again. Hopefully, they can climb up out of the 8th spot. Don't like seeing them in the 8th in the East, but we'll see. There's plenty of time left there. So, yeah. So that brings us into our beloved Celtics, which again, we're not going to spend too much time on here, but we do have to just go over the week in orderly fashion. So they are, in one hand, in the good news, they're back to 500. They are a 21-21 team. 4th in the Atlantic, 10th in the East. No change from the last time we talked about this last week. So they would technically qualify for that playoff, that 7 through 10 playoff at the end of the season, which I've never been a fan of anyway. But cool. It adds some excitement, I guess, if you're a big NBA fan. We've talked about this. We're Celtics fans, not necessarily NBA fans. But Celtics have been playing better than Sundance. As you know, they're on a 3-game win streak. Since getting blown out the last time we recorded at MSG, well, I'm sorry, after blowing their lead at MSG a week ago, they've actually won 3 in a row, beating the Knicks again and the Pacers twice. Jalen had his first career triple-double against the Knicks in that win. I feel like we're always talking about just something great Jalen did, and then what is going to happen from there. He says he wants to win. He says he wants to win with Tatum. It was nice to hear. Cool. The rumors swirling on the trade front, and we've talked about this as well before, is like, are they going to break these guys up? What are they doing? Supposedly right now, the rumors are the front office is not looking to break up the duo at the trade deadline. That's all well and good until someone comes over and overpays. I don't know. I still think in a way, maybe not trade one of the two, but you got to do something to blow it up. I'm not impressed. It's kind of like the fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 843 times, shame on me.
We don't have Trader Danny at the helm this time around.
True.
I did predict this to a degree, so I'm about a quarter of the way there. If you recall from last week's show, I said the Celtics are going to go on like a 4-week run here because I thought that they would make this really tough on Brad Stevens with, what do I do? What pieces am I missing? Do I blow it all up? How fair is that to Udoka, the new coach that comes in, and then you ship out one of the superstars? So I don't really know if you could do that.
Not unless they get overwhelmed with something.
They're right. They've got to be blown away. I have to say, although it's been against lower tier teams, these 3 wins, they are starting to put some distance between themselves and these teams in the fourth quarter, which is gives me a little bit of hope here. And Tatum and Brown are playing in sync. And geez, Robert Williams, he's healthy right now. And I had a friend mention
Right
to me,
now.
I had a Knicks fan mention to me just yesterday, geez, that kid looks like he's going to be a superstar. And I reminded him that, I have more NBA minutes logged than Robert Williams at this point. So
We're
listen,
going to check that, but we'll fact check that. But yeah.
So listen, I do think the Celtics are a little bit of an upswing here. I'm not going to say it's going to last for 12 weeks, but I do think they've got this little run in them. And I think you're going to see it continue through the month of January.
I certainly hope so. I'm actually looking to see what they've got. I didn't even bother looking at the upcoming schedule, but yeah, we've got they're playing tomorrow night. Typical Friday night Celtics basketball. We'll see.
I think the Sixers. I think they have.
I think it is the Sixers. Correct. Yeah. You're actually right. You're right. One quick note. You just were talking about the Knicks. The Knicks did go ahead and trade for Cam Reddish from Atlanta today, which I think is a really big move for them. I'm going to be honest. I think the Knicks are another team that are on the upswing. I think the Celtics could look at that team and say, hey, this team is doing things. I'm curious to see what they do juxtaposed against the Knicks, because now the Knicks basically give a first rounder, protected first round pick for Cam Reddish, who is an upside player from Atlanta. That's going to be interesting. The Knicks have a nice young core there, and Celtics could definitely be looking at them as kind of neck and neck as who's going to start stepping up in the East as far as the young bodies. But
they do, but they've also got a little bit of Mets going on in them with the whole thumbs down thing from Julius Randle to the fans.
Yes,
and that can't be ignored.
No,
I don't want to full-fledged roll out the carpet on that right now, but when one of your superstar players is deliberately FUing the fans. Pretty deliberately in the arena, just as you saw Javi Baez do with the Mets.
It's got to be it's a New York thing, man. It's a blue and orange. It's blue and orange.
That does not bode well in the world of sports karma, and I am a believer in that. Yeah. So I'm actually going to hold the phone and see how this pans out a little bit for the Knicks. I see your point on Cam Reddish, being a decent, piece. We'll see. I think the jury's out, and I'm curious to see how Randall reacts going forward.
All right. Fair point. All right. That wraps up our rundown. That is going to take us. We're going to roll. Actually, take that back. We are not going to roll into the Patriots yet. Sundance, I think you know why. This is that moment where we have to slow it down, take a breath, and then ask anyone who's watching us on YouTube to please smash that like button, subscribe, and click the little bell to turn your notifications on so you never miss a show. If you're listening on your favorite podcast provider, make sure to rate and review. It helps us tremendously, and we greatly appreciate it. It is all part of our quest to get to $100 million. Subscribers. 100 million subscribers. Scratching, clawing our way. Help us get there. Be a part of the family. All right. Thank you. Let's move on. NFL playoff preview.
Playoffs?
AFC. What game do you think we're going to start with, Sundance?
Let's go New England, Buffalo.
New England at the Bills. Last check here, Sundance. Bills are given 4. So, give or take a one-possession game, basically a field goal. 4 is a weird number, but not that we're betting it. But on the road in Orchard Park, you know what? You can have at it. First thoughts on this game.
Boy, the Patriots fan in me really wants to just come out swinging here. Like, hey, this is going to, the first 2 meetings don't mean anything. I really like our chances. We're going to go up there and punch him in the mouth. The eyeball test for me coming down the stretch here. I don't expect this to be a close game at the beginning of the fourth quarter. And I'm talking about a 14-point lead here for Buffalo. I heard a lot of chatter this week. Is this a successful season for the Patriots? If they lose this game, this is a successful season.
Yes.
You've found your quarterback. You made the playoffs. You have plenty of coaches waiting in the wings to take over for Belichick whenever he is done, I would deem this season a success. I am not going to hold my breath on this game. That's why I went fully decked out tonight. I'm putting it all out there. I don't know that we'll be talking about the Patriots much next week. I will say this, that I was blown away by this nugget that I picked up from Zolak and Bertrand show on 98.5 The Sports Hub. And it was actually brought up by one of their guests who escapes me. It was actually a caller. That's right. It wasn't a guest. It was a caller that called in and said, why aren't you guys talking about and paying attention to the fact that a couple of Patriots players that you had on your show in the last few weeks both said no comment when asked about Matt Judon, Defensive Player of the Year, Matt Judon, MVP, and Kyle Van Noy was one player.
Van Noy's on all the time, yeah.
The other player was Chase Winovich. Now, I have to be honest. The host of the show, Zolak, and it wasn't Bertrand. There was somebody else filling in for him. But both of them said, there could be something there. Not, geez, here's the conspiracy theory. You're really twisting someone's words. They both said, they both these players, Van Noy and Chase Winovich, both gave a pretty flat no comment when asked about the influence of Matt Judon on the defense. How about NFL Defensive Player of the Year? And I can't help but wonder what's going on the defensive side of the ball the past month. Is Judon hurt? Is Judon just getting his butt kicked?
There's been some mental errors there too.
Is he rushing too far upfield? I see plays where he just takes off plays. I hate to be on camera saying that. Matt Judon, I'm really sorry if you ever watch this, but he does not seem to be 110% every single play. Now, maybe that's unrealistic to think that every single guy is going to do that in the NFL. I get it. It's a very physical sport. But I'm telling you, I don't feel great going into this game.
Right. So first off the bat, I just want to put it out there. I will be tagging Matt Judon on Instagram and every social when we go to.
I looked for red sleeves everywhere throughout the house, even though it's a Mac Jones jersey. I can't find anything with red sleeves. I'm so disappointed. I
should have sent this shirt to you then. Also, to anyone who's actually listening to this and not watching on video, when Sundance is talking about dressing up, this one he is in a full Patriots onesie, zipped to the neck. So with footy slippers and everything. So you can picture that. If you want to see it, check us out on YouTube if you're only listening on audio. But yeah, back to your point.
How do you see this game going? How do you see it?
About the same. I don't know about a 14-point lead. I'm not saying it couldn't happen. Very well could. I definitely see them down in the fourth, and we know this team gets down, they can't come back. This is just not built that way, nor do we expect it. It's just the way it is. The way I think realistically, the way for them to win this game is to get ahead early. That's when the defense can be turned loose and play just like any team. You play the lead. If you're a decent defense, it obviously helps. I think basically they need to not turn the ball over. Duh. Again, this is cliche, but it just needs to be said. You don't turn the ball over. You get some kind of lead early. You let your defense play that way. You stand a chance. The O-line needs to protect Mac. Shocking, I know. But given the temperatures, et cetera, I mean, you're going to look between the temperatures and the fact that Buffalo's run game has also come alive the last month with Devin Singletary. It was more out of necessity than anything else, but he's essentially taken that backfield for his own. Zach Moss is out of the mix. Breida is a here and there guy, but Singletary is actually taken over that backfield finally for that team. Now you got Buffalo with I'm not going to say they're a great run team, but even having a decent run game is essentially all that offense needs from the passing side between Allen running and throwing the ball, and then you've got the receivers. I think the temperature might help this team. The Pats kind of grind it out. But, I mean, if you're being real at some point, I think they're only going to get away with that for so long. Temperature aside, at some point, they're I'd love to think that J.C. Jackson and everyone on the back end.
I just don't see it. I'm hearing a lot of homerism around me. I'm seeing it. I'm reading it. I'm hearing it. I am hearing Rob Ninkovich say, Patriots have a blueprint. They're gonna beat Buffalo. I'm telling you right now, mark it down. They're gonna beat Buffalo. They're gonna run it down their throats. They're gonna get in Josh Allen's face. Paul Perillo from Patriots.com wrote this awesome article, but he's saying, the Patriots have the advantage in the run game, and Buffalo really doesn't tend to run the ball. So that's a strength for the Patriots. The Pats have a couple really good running backs, but did you watch the Buffalo Patriots game 2 weeks ago? Right. Buffalo ran it at will. I mean, I don't know what.
So watching tape from 2 months ago. I don't like this. These are not the same. It's not the same, especially the Buffalo side. It's not the same team offensively.
It's not the same. This is just, and we've seen this movie before with the Patriots. Right. It's happened a few times in the last 20 years. They are gangbusters the first 8 to 10 weeks, the first 12 weeks. And then December comes, they have a couple lapses, couple of, crap games. You roll into the playoffs, you're feeling good because it's the Patriots, and then they just get undressed. And it happened, 2 years ago against Tennessee when Brady was just like, I'm out of here. Like, I got no weapons. This was a joke. And this is a different story. Sure. But it's the same movie. Right. I don't think we're going to see a Patriots victory here. So.
Sadly, I would agree. I'm just looking at the injury report. 13 players questionable in this game. So I think that's actually including both yours and my extended families.
They're all on the Patriots side. Buffalo listed nobody.
Nothing. I actually thought it was just missing from the report. It's not. Two that stand out to me that I'm hoping. Christian Barmore, who we've talked about numerous times on this show, with a knee, could really, and then you got Duggar with the hand. Even Lawrence Guy, like basically those linemen. You got Hightower with the knee. And granted, a lot of these may just be lip service, the typical on the injury report, but some of these seem legit. David Andrews has got a shoulder. Yeah. Between both lines alone, you need both lines healthy.
The only way the Patriots win this game is 2 crazy turnovers early that result in touchdowns.
Yes.
Not
and
field
force.
Touchdowns. Right. So I'm talking about
Buffalo.
A straight up brain fart interception for Josh Allen. And I'm talking about a fumble because it's really cold out by a running back or a receiver, scooped up, ran into the end zone. Patriots are up 14-0 before
they need a couple of shock and awe plays
in the first quarter. That's the only way this is going to happen. And then we'll just run the ball down their throats and bleed the clock as much as we can.
Right.
Get out of time. Beyond that, I'm not seeing it. I just don't see it.
Yeah, when we're going to get into towards the end of our preview, we're going to get into our overall predictions for the playoffs. But I think both of us are kind of on the same page. Sadly, I don't see this going the Patriots' way. Would love to be wrong, but we'll see. All right, so let's actually move out of that. We're actually a couple other games in the AFC we want to touch on before we move into the NFC. First of which, Sundance, we've got Las Vegas. Cue that. Vegas! Going to Cincinnati. Cincinnati is right now the line is 5. It was 5.5 down to Cincinnati by 5 at home against Vegas. Real quick on this one, comes down to, for me, Cincinnati's offense, Burrow in particular, and those receivers are just lighting it up right now, on fire. They're at home. Mixon, if he's healthy, is a fantastic, probably a top 5 complete running back in the league. Again, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins are becoming an elite wide receiver duo. Not that everything hinges on your high end, only those high end skill players. A lot of the stuff comes out of the trenches, the lines. The O-line for Cincinnati is still spotty, etc. I will say one thing that's going to be key to this game, I think, with Vegas is the pass rush. They can rush the passer, and Max Crosby is a freaking beast. So I think even on the road coming cross-country Vegas, we've seen them a very up-and-down team, but they gutted out a crazy win against San Diego. Still calling them San Diego. The Chargers. Los Angeles Chargers last week, just to get here, that team has rallied around Rich Bisaccia as far as interim coach. They've got a little moxie. Derek Carr, do I think he's a stud? Has he elevated his game to like elite status? No. But I will say he's played well enough. He's played better than I think myself and a lot of people maybe have given him credit for previous seasons. I think he's having a good year, potentially good enough maybe to help this team. The Raiders could maybe make a shocking win on the road. I don't know, but I think he's proving his attractions wrong a little bit. I think for me also comes down to Vegas, their receivers. If Renfro, is Waller even healthy? Who knows? I don't know. I like Cincinnati's receivers and Burrow in the end, so I'm probably going to be taking Cincinnati. What's your thought on that?
I'm going to lean Vegas on this. I'll tell you why. I just really like the fight in Vegas. They've had everything thrown at them the last couple of years, honestly, the last few years.
Right.
And to make the playoffs over Indy, that was looking like a team of destiny for a period there. They were unbeatable. And the Chargers, who have best young quarterback in the NFL, and guy's going to win 17 MVPs once Aaron Rodgers retires. Right. I really like the fact that they beat out both of those teams and they don't give up. And so I guess I'm going to go the adversity angle here. I think the Raiders have faced a bit more adversity than the Bengals. I know Burrow blew out his knee last year. I know. I get
no. But this year though, no. It's I wouldn't argue that point. I think that's a valid point actually.
The Raiders are the only upset that I see. In all honesty, in this entire playoff grid, quite frankly, I just can't pick out another one.
Well, that actually brings us to our next AFC game then. Nice segue, Sundance. The other game in the AFC is actually 7th-seeded Pittsburgh Steelers going to Kansas City. Kansas City giving 12.5. I just want to say right now, I'm going to throw this out there. I'm not going to say this for the 3 and out. I can't stand this current change to the playoff format. It's great that they got an extra team in each conference. I personally can't stand the fact you've now gotten a team that wouldn't have been there how many years? So it wouldn't have been in the playoffs is now in, like the Steelers now. And you've got a second team that normally would have had a week off this week having to play. It just looks weird. 7th seed at the 2 seed. I don't like one team getting a bye. Maybe it's me just being a curmudgeon against change, but the whole format with this extra team just feels really weird and dumb. That said, what do you think about Pittsburgh at Kansas City?
Well, I don't mind the 7 seed. I don't mind the 1 bye. I'll throw that on there for the record. I see Kansas City trouncing the Steelers in this game. This is not going to be a Ben Roethlisberger swan song, and
Well, Ben actually agrees with you, so there's that too. If you've heard his recent quote, he basically said they're going to get killed, so let's go out and just have fun. So
he's
on board with that.
I heard those comments,
tongue in cheek, obviously, but
sure. Listen, I put one nail in Kansas City's coffin back in October, and I mean they are just like freaking Dracula, Frankenstein, every stupid monster you can think of that does not die. They are Jason Voorhees to the nth degree. I mean, damn, I really wish Kansas City was done. But they're not. And I think that they are going to lay a hammer down on Pittsburgh. I don't think this is a close game.
I can't disagree. I think the two things for me that comes down to, and we can move on, but basically is, can the Steelers defense on the road at Arrowhead do enough to slow down the Chiefs offense? You've got Tyreek Hill, who's got a foot injury, playing a little gimpy. He's been practicing. He's out there. I know Kelsey's been really banged up, et cetera. Can the D slow them down enough? Can TJ Watt do enough? Get to Mahomes 8,000 times? I don't know. And then even if they do, can the Steelers offense, i.e. really Ben, do enough for it to even matter? Ben's average depth of target throw is like 4 yards, something ridiculous. Again, noodle arm Ben, we've said it before. They may be getting Juju Smith-Schuster back for this game. He's been practicing. I don't know that's necessarily enough. It helps, I would think, having a good receiver back in the offense, but I can't see. I don't see anyone thinking Steelers can go into Arrowhead and beat Kansas City. But you know what? Swan song for Ben. Congratulations for getting to the playoffs one more time before you're done. Hats off to you. Now, please just go away. All right. I think that wraps up the AFC Sundance. Let's get into the NFC. We got a little bit to dig into here. So as we said in the AFC, we didn't really talk about them. Tennessee has that first seed, the number 1 seed with the bye. We'll get into them depending on whatever their matchup is next week. NFC, you got Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers with the number 1 seed having this week as a bye on bye as well. So the first game we're actually going to talk about is we're going to roll into San Francisco going to Dallas, and Dallas is giving the 3. And that actually is a cue for us to welcome in our special guest. He is a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan. It is Lone Star Al. Let's welcome Lone Star Al to the show. Lone Star, how you doing? And more importantly, let's lead off. What you sipping on there?
Gentlemen, how are you doing?
We're fantastic. We're better now you're here.
Thank you for having me on. I really love the Mac Jones jersey.
Okay.
To answer your question, because you went and made the comment last week, Major J, I went with a New England style IPA. However, it's a local Charlotte beer. Sycamore Brewing. It is my go-to when I can't make a decision at the store what the heck I want to grab.
Are they officially sponsoring you right now or no?
Well, we're in talks. We're in talks, yes.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens. It's a delightful, a lighter New England style IPA. Yeah.
All right. So, I love it.
Yeah.
All right, Lone Star. So yeah, we're gonna get right into this, and we're gonna let you lead off. Right off the bat. I mean, Dallas taking on San Fran. I mean, Dallas has got no Gallup, no problem. No Gallup, no problem.
No, because we have
Cedric, not Quincy Wilson.
You are correct. Cedric, not Quincy Wilson, has been coming on like a banshee towards the end of the season. I actually like him better than Gallup. Gallup tends to just show up once a game. Now, granted, he shows up in the big games with the one catch they need when either CD or somebody else just gets the yips. But this is a throwback to the 90s. I mean, this is bringing back nightmares of playing against Steve Young and Jerry Rice of all those years in the 90s.
That's a good call.
San Fran's got that. They got a running game. Dallas just can't clog up that middle at all. Van Der Esch doesn't know how to tackle. They can't have Michael Parsons playing every position out there.
As much as he tries to and would love to. He can't actually be in 11 spots at once. Right?
Dan Quinn tends to just run him ragged out there. But listen, I think the key defensively for Dallas is to not allow San Francisco to throw the ball deep because Diggs is just an all-or-nothing corner. He'll either get an interception or give up a 70-yard touchdown. So, as you witnessed against your Patriots not that long ago.
What is he have? He's like 11 picks?
11 picks. But, I don't have the stats, but he's given up quite a few 30, 40-yard plus completions. But more importantly, on the other side of the ball, Anthony Brown's just not a very good cornerback. He's benefited, I think, from their safeties playing well this year. Javon Curse is dinged up. I don't even know if he's going to be playing. The key right now.
I can tell you. I think I actually just saw him on the injury report.
I checked earlier today, and
he was activated from the COVID list today.
He was activated, but he was limited in practice. Along with, they're going to have, they're going to have everybody on the injury list right now. But that's how the NFL is. From Belichick, but
right.
Keanu Neal, he needs to be able to cover Kittle. He needs to be in the game. So he's dinged up. He's got a shoulder, and a arm issue or something like that. So he's dinged. I don't even know if he's going to play. He's the only guy I think that can cover Kittle because again, Michael Parsons can't cover Kittle and
he can't be rushing Jimmy Garoppolo while also covering Kittle down the seam.
It's going to be a game in the 30s. Dallas has to run the ball. They've got to, Pollard's back, which is great offensively. Zeke's just got to do his thing, not run into the back of his own offensive lineman, but actually look for a hole that might be a half a yard to his left or right. Keep his head up. So Dallas is going to score. It's going to come down to turnovers. Is Dak going to try to make the pass where he shouldn't be throwing it?
Right.
Can Lawrence, Parsons, and Randy Gregory? Can Randy Gregory keep his head on?
Right.
And can they get to Jimmy G? I think they can. I think defensively they're going to get some sacks. They'll get 1 or 2 turnovers. But Dallas is going to turn over the ball once or twice themselves. They come down to special teams. The Niners punter is on concussion protocol. I don't know if they're going to have Robbie Gould doing the punting again this week.
Drop kick action.
Did
right.
the old Doug Flutie days. But I mean, Zerline, he can't make an extra point, but yet he can kick a 50-yard field goal.
I'm glad you brought that up. Zerline was somebody I was going to bring up. So
it's scary. I like, and I know I'm in the minority with Dallas fans. I'd rather play San Francisco than the Rams or the Cardinals right now. We just played the Cardinals. They gave us so many problems without J.J. Watt in the lineup.
Right.
I don't want to be against Budda Baker right now. He's just Troy Polamalu 2.0, if not better. He's just all over the field. So I like our chances against the Niners. I think they can get past San Francisco. Not looking too far ahead, but I like the chances to at least get to the NFC Championship game.
All right.
And then they probably won't make it further than that. But I'm a realist, die-hard Cowboy, so it's
you've seen enough to where you have to be.
I've been disappointed so much through the Romo years, and it wasn't. And again, I was a Romo supporter. He never had the offensive line guy now, so we'll see what happens. But I've got the Cowboys winning this week. It's going to be a field goal, less than a touchdown, somewhere around. It's going to come down to the end. Someone's going to make a mistake.
One thing you brought up, and it was something that I thought was going to be the key, is the essentially the Dallas. Granted, the defense overall, I think, can be effective enough at home to win this game and make some plays. I'm curious to see how that, specifically the run D, performs against a team like San Francisco, who likes to smash it and run the ball. Between Eli Mitchell, I don't know if they're going to use Trey Sermon, even though he got activated.
Well, that's even if Mitchell is even playing.
I was just saying, it depends on it really depends on who's available. I'm going to check right now, but it looks like
Sermon's coming off. They still have, I think Jeff Wilson will be in the lineup.
So Eli Mitchell was upgraded from DNP to limited today, so that means nothing. But you've also got Trent Williams, left tackle.
Yeah. Well, and you also have Deebo Samuel, who's their second leading rusher.
Really, the second
wide receiver.
Yeah.
So I mean.
I do think the defense can make enough plays against Jimmy in this offense to win this game at home. But I agree with you pretty much across the board. It's going to come down to a few plays. Some special teams are going to kind of be involved in that. I think this is a game where if we can see Dak get right a little bit, this could be it. But we've been saying that for a month, and who knows. I don't know. I do ultimately like Dallas to take this at home. Between the run game, between Zeke and Pollard, I think there's going to be too much. I think there's just too much talent with the Cowboys where they can't screw this up. And I don't think McCarthy can screw this up necessarily. I think there's just too much good there where I think they'll prevail being at home.
I don't know.
Anything you want to jump in there?
Yeah. So I have Dallas moving on from this game as well. And that's it. A, they are super talented, and B, Jimmy G is going to be good for at least 1 interception and probably 2. I wouldn't say the same about Dak. So with all that said, Lone Star, let me ask you a question. Hypothetical scenario. Dallas is up by 2. 4 minutes to go. San Francisco has the ball. They just crossed the 50-yard line. 4 minutes to go. Dallas only has 2 timeouts because Mike McCarthy blew one of them earlier when he sneezed and got the ref's attention by accident. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being super freaking concerned, where's your level of concern there? Dallas is up 2, 4 minutes to go. San Francisco has the ball, and they are at midfield, just crossing midfield. Dallas with 2 timeouts.
Oh, recent history has shown I am now looking forward to the next NFL draft. I mean,
All right, cut and dry. Turn this game off.
They have not proven that they can make that stop defensively. They've shown flashes this year. Again, they've got some pieces this year to the puzzle, sort of. They're still missing some stuff. I mean, I won't go into a whole list of things, but yes, no, my confidence level would not be very high in that scenario. It's recent history has shown to be proven that.
It wouldn't even be the defense, though. For me, it's really Mike McCarthy. Not managing.
I don't necessarily agree. I don't necessarily agree with that because, and Major J has gotten an earful from me from this at times during the season. I am not on the Kellen Moore bandwagon. I think he does way too many. He tries to be Shanahan 2.0. He tries to be too fancy, or not even Shanahan, but Bieniemy or Andy Reid from Kansas. You don't need to be fancy when you're up by 10. You don't need to be doing these end around. Let's have a wide receiver pass. Put the game away. The Cowboys have had way too many. Not to steal your segment. They've had way too many 3-and-outs.
Yeah,
way too many this year, and that's I think that's going to be another key to this playoff run for them. Is can Kellen Moore just can you rein it in a little bit? Run the ball, give it to Pollard, give it to Zeke. Even if you're throwing little screens, little flares, whatever, stop with the fancy stuff. I'm in the minority with that.
It's a good point. For me, that's McCarthy's role, to go to Kellen Moore 3/4 of the way through the season and say exactly that. Say, listen, closed door. I'll give you a full recommendation when you're interviewing for a head coach job. But listen, you got to cut this crap out. Like, kid, when we have the game nearly put away, it's put away. So I agree with you, but I think that's on McCarthy to pull in the reins a little bit.
It is. I still like him better than the Clapper. That was 7 years of just agony. And listen, he was a Cowboy through and through, except for the years he spent with the Giants. But I
was a Mike McCarthy fan when they hired him, Lone Star. When they hired him, I bought into the whole thing where he gathered a bunch of assistant coaches in a barn on the middle of his ranch, wherever the heck he was holding out. And I thought it was really cool. I thought it was innovative, and he just put up a big screen and said, "All right, let's just game plan for whenever we get a job again." I thought it was really cool, and I liked the fact that he had a Super Bowl under him. But man, watching him, I do scratch my head at times where I'm just like, dude, this game should be over.
I can see that. I can see that. Absolutely. They've had a lot of close games. I mean, their losses, they've only had one real true blowout loss, and then the other games they were in it. I mean, it's just you can blame the coaching in that situation. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Physical talent is off the charts. Physical talent. I mean, they have superstars at many positions. CeeDee Lamb is just a human highlight reel. So
nobody talks about the tight ends either. I mean, Blake Jarwin's back now. I mean, he's a wide receiver playing tight end, for his speed. But Schultz has just had a career year. It really has shown. He can block. I mean, he's basically he's not as good as Jason Witten ever was, but he's kind of I'd say a mid-range version. How's that? But he's really come on.
Yeah, and Zeke is pretty much an afterthought at this point, which is just insane. From my far vantage point, Zeke is nowhere near a focal point of the offense like he was, just a couple of years ago. So it's been a really interesting turn of events for Dallas, but they're on the upswing, and I expect them to come out of it.
Yeah, they're going to have to look at Zeke's contract, I think, in the offseason and do some kind of restructuring because they stole him a lot of money, and they got to free some money up here coming up soon. So we'll see what happens.
All right, I think that's a good place to put it in this one because we do have a couple other games we got to look at real quick in the NFC here. First of which is Philadelphia, 7 seed, going to our old friend Tampa Tom at Tampa. Tampa right now, let's see, is Tampa's Tampa's giving 9. Wow, this has actually gone up since yesterday. It was 8.5. It's now up to 9.5. Tampa. We don't spend too much time on this game, but I think I'd actually say 9.5. Philadelphia might be able to cover that, but I don't see how Philly in the end can keep up with Tampa. I don't know if Hurts and the running game can do enough there on the road in Tampa. Tampa obviously is at next level at home. If either of you have any points you want to make on this one.
Really quickly, I won't be surprised to see Philly up 10-0 early. It will not surprise me. I won't be surprised in the third quarter to see the Bucs up 30-10. I just kind of see this game going that way. Philly's upstart; they got nothing to lose. And,
Tampa's getting healthier as well. Tampa, other than losing Chris Godwin, they're getting healthier. Potentially, you got guys who are practicing Fournette, as well as Gio Bernard, Levante David. If any of those guys play, I mean, that's just, that's icing for Tampa at home. I think it could be a fun game to watch. I think it's going to be a really fun game to watch with Hurts. Anytime you got dynamic quarterbacks like Hurts and Kyler and et cetera, you're going to have they can make some noise there in the playoffs in a playoff game in prime time, but I don't know that Philly can do enough to actually take that upset. Won't start anything from you, or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, for me, Philly's going to have to pretty much put all their cards in the basket and double up Gronk, double up Evans, and hope to God none of the other Tampa wide receivers learn how to catch the ball.
That's what we might see that. So we'll see. So that last game is also Arizona going to the Rams. Rams giving 4. Real quick on this one, I think anytime you have Kyler, again, going back to what we were just saying, dynamic player, dynamic quarterback, playmakers like that can make magic happen. Neither team played great down the stretch. Kyler didn't play great down the stretch. Stafford really did not play well down the stretch for the Rams, even though they were still able to eke out some wins, notably last week against Baltimore, even though he played like poop. Was that what? No. Yeah, Baltimore. Was that 2 weeks ago? Whatever. It doesn't matter. Stafford hasn't played well down the stretch here. He's thrown a lot of pick sixes. Who knows if Cam Akers is going to factor in as far as that backfield. I don't know if Kyler can take over. I think ultimately I'm going to have probably the Rams moving on. I don't know what you guys think.
Really? Oh, okay. I thought from an earlier comment, I thought you were gonna lean Arizona. I'm gonna go Rams as well, and I'm gonna base that just on I kind of see this as two teams kind of going in slightly opposite directions.
Right.
The Rams really, I know Stafford didn't have his best stretch of his career, but they won enough games there down the stretch. And Arizona, man, they were looking like gangbusters right into mid-November, and then boom, boom, boom. They really stumbled a bit. I'm also, I think Cliff Kingsbury is a fantastic young coach, but I think the guy on the other side is just a notch better. And so I actually expect the Rams to come out on top in this one.
One star. Who do you got in this one? I think based on what you sent me, it looks like you got Arizona taking this game.
I do. I mean, this is a toss up. It's
kind of a pick 'em.
It really is. I mean, you're right. Both. It's kind of doing this. They split their season series. Home team losing each time. Mr. J.J. Watt was activated today. Off the IR.
Yes, limited practice, but yes.
Limited practice, more to rest him. It could come down to the fourth quarter and who makes the play on defense. I've already pointed out Buda Baker is just an animal all over the place. I think it's going to come down to Stafford just making a mistake in the end. But again, I wouldn't be surprised with the Rams beating by 10, 15 points. Arizona, I think, in a close one, J.J. Watt or Baker, one of those linebackers, just makes a play in the end, and Stafford coughs it up.
Yeah, no. Well, we did do a little bit between us. We did a little playoff picks challenge here, just for fun, just to kind of map out what we think our predictions are for the playoffs, which are going to be wildly incorrect, probably just even after this weekend. Lone Star, I've got yours up right here. So you've got some interesting ones, and we don't have to spend too much time on it, but we've got Bengals upsetting the Titans going to the AFC Championship. Basically, you have the Bills going all the way over the Packers in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
is what it comes down to.
You know, I had a harder time picking this bracket. I think that I've ever picked any NCAA tournament once. It's just I think there's really good matchups across.
Appreciate the effort.
Well, you're welcome. Hopefully it gets ratings up. Whatever. But there's just really good matchups aside from the Chiefs Steelers. And maybe even the Bucks Eagles. There's again. I mean, I can see the Patriots going into Buffalo and knocking off Buffalo. I mean, the weather's going to be horrible. It plays right into the Patriots' hands. However, they have not been a wild card team in 20 plus years, a true wild card team. So Let's see how they react. I don't know. I mean, Bengals, I just love that offense and just they're young and hungry and they haven't won a playoff game in 31 years. So let's give you got to pick an upset somewhere, right? So, but again, I can see the Titans doing it. Henry gets all of a sudden hot. The running game just starts flowing, but.
Yeah,
listen, it kills me to take the Packers, but I think Rodgers is just.
No, I trust me, I get it. You got the Cowboy, you got the Pokes getting to the NFC Championship game. Other than that, you get to pretty much chalk. I mean, you've got Arizona over the Rams, Packers over the Cardinals in the divisional round, Cowboys over the Bucks. You got Packers over Cowboys NFC Championship. You got the Bills over the Bengals in the AFC Championship, and then in the Super Bowl. Bills over the Packers with the Bills winning the Super Bowl. So that's still that's kind of ballsy in itself. That's definitely not chalk.
And Buffalo was the trendy pick early in the year too. Where, if I recall correctly, a lot of analysts were taking Buffalo, the Rams. But again, I mean, it could be any one of these teams. They're really good.
Well. We got so we pulled up Sundance's predictions here, and if I transpose them correctly, again, as we talked about earlier, he's got the Raiders over the Bengals. Okay. Then we got the Bills, Chiefs. So we've got the Titans moving on over the Raiders in the divisional round. You got the Titans and the Chiefs AFC Championship with the Chiefs moving on to the Super Bowl. You've got Packers, Rams moving on to play the Packers next round. Cowboys, Bucks as well in the divisional round. Ultimately, the Packers and the Cowboys in the NFC Championship game with the Cowboys moving on to the Super Bowl to play the Chiefs with the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. Any comments and answers? Just you feel good about this, or it's just you know what? I'm flipping some coins.
You know what? It's like I texted you earlier. There's upsets every year. It's just how do you pick them? To which you responded, right? That's hard, or whatever you said.
It's difficult. Yeah.
It's true. I mean, you could see this going any number of ways. The only maybe upset that I see is really the Raiders knocking off the Bengals because the Bengals haven't been here in a long time. Granted, the Raiders haven't been here, too often either. But I just think the adversity factor there, and then from there, guys, really, I mean, I'm just taking the top seeds, with the not the top seeds, but I'm taking, you can see Kansas City to win the whole thing.
They're the top seeds, though, so it's not like you're crazy by doing. Yeah, I mean,
yeah. No,
sure.
I'm praying the Aaron Rodgers train comes to a screeching halt, and I am praying that it happens at Lambeau. It's got to happen at Lambeau because they're the top seed. So if they lose, it's going to happen in Green Bay, and I really hope Dak just like circles the stadium where the fans are at the end of the game and tells them, I own you now. Now I own you. Because Rodgers is leaving at the end. Rodgers is gone. So I own you. That's what I'm hoping for. We'll see.
All right. So as much as I actually would really love to see that happen, once I started doing this,
Dak has too much class, by the way. He wouldn't do that.
Which is true.
Rodgers is a POS.
Here we go. Went a little ahead. So yeah. So getting into mine, we actually, so I actually have Bengals moving on, playing the Titans, Bills, Chiefs. I've got the Bengals and the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. I've got Packers, Rams, Cowboys, Bucks, NFC divisional round. Packers and Bucks, NFC Championship. Packers, Chiefs, Super Bowl. And unfortunately, as I'm not going to be rooting for them, I'm not going to be rooting for this game in general because this is not a game I want to see. Packers-Chiefs with the Packers winning. I don't know that I actually believe this. Just when I was actually doing it out, it just kind of shook out that way at that time. This is going to be wildly wrong. I actually like both of your brackets better.
No, it could totally.
I just don't like the Bucs
totally
going. I feel like the Bucs are going to hit a wall at some point. I really wanted to put the Bengals in Super Bowl, but I'm like, I had to get realistic at some point, and I can't see the Bengals being able to ride that much of a hot streak all the way to the end. I'm going to be honest with you. The one upset I really wanted to pull here, and I couldn't do it, was actually the Rams in Lambeau shutting Rodgers up in his stupid toe and ending that ride right there. But I had to give that team too much credit, especially with the bye. And we've seen the Rams have gaffes. And again, the way Stafford's been playing, I couldn't pull the trigger on it. So this is going to be wildly wrong. I can't wait to find out in about 3 weeks how terrible this bracket looks. But
no, you're right. Green Bay is winning that first round game. Green Bay is going to come out of that divisional game for them. They'll win handily. I am really praying and hoping that the Cowboys can upend them. But boy, you guys are on that Bengals train. It is interesting.
I think they've gotten hot at the right time. That offense has gotten hot the last month, and I think I think that's enough when you get into in any tournament format or whatever. You can ride a hot streak for a little while. So I like them being able to outscore some teams.
You get some confidence. You get young football players with confidence, and it's a wave, and that's what football is. It's momentum. It's crazy. Know, they get a win. Anything can happen with them, but I don't think this is the year they can go to the Super Bowl. I think they're another year away, but
yeah, they need more on defense too. But sorry. So I think that's we got to move on here. But I think that kind of wraps up our playoff preview special, so to speak. Here we'll probably touch on some more next week's on that. But real quick, that's going to roll into an update on our Padres picks to end the season. We went into last week. I was up 4 games, gave you the opportunity to play catch up. It was looking tight there for a little bit. It was looking tight as he falls off the screen in disbelief. And now he's back. Final week of the season. We wrapped it up. I went 10-6 because you went and picked every game opposite, shooting the moon. At least an attempt to. That backfired miserably. You finished 6-10, so I've actually finished 8 games ahead of you on the season. I will say we both pulled our win percentages up pretty well the last 6 weeks, I'd say. So I think we should both be proud of where we finished.
Oh, thank you.
I'm a little prouder. You are again in disbelief that the season is over, and wow, he really did win. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. As you can see, marked here, winner. So I'm giving you the month off as a little reprieve, but starting in February, you will be delivering even just a 4-pack is fine of a tasty microbrew to my door. I'm confident instead it'll probably be thrown at the door from the road, maybe left in the mailbox. I don't know.
We'll see what Cumberland Farms has in stock, and if I can.
Does Cumby sell beer in Connecticut?
I'm not sure, but I'll find something. No, I'm kidding. I will spot you a fantastic NEIPA from some wonderful brewery in the area. So happy to. Congrats. Hats off to you. It was a great season. We both finished over 500. Which it was the goal. Time, and look forward to delivering those 4-packs.
All right. I cannot wait. It's going to be so delicious. So when it hits the lips. All right. So I think we are going to kind of wrap up the show. Something we've been doing is a little 3-and-out action. Anything goes, 3 downs. Lone Star, you being the guest on the show, we're going to keep you around for this as we close it out. I'm actually going to even give you first down. By all means, you're the guest. What do you got for us? First down.
We'll see if I do this right. So I'm switching.
Can't get it wrong. That's
switching gears over to baseball.
If you
the Mets are going to throw a wrench into things, and they're going to release Robinson, Caruso, Cano. To pave way to sign Chris Bryant, throw him at third base, and move Jeff McNeil to second. And then my life will be happy until Edwin Diaz blows about 25 saves during the regular season. Having said that, sounds like the Braves right now are hot on Bryant's trail, at least what the local newsreels are saying down here.
So anyone who doesn't know out there that Lone Star Al is actually, despite his name, he's actually a diehard Mets fan as well. So you can make that connection any which way you want.
Despite my Christian Vasquez gnome bobblehead right above my head.
Yeah. Mets fan Al. So Mets fan Al is coming out here. And all right. Sundance, second down. What do you got?
Geez, I gotta tell you, I think I may have been backing the wrong horse for a couple of years. I was on the B flow train, as we have had Matt Canada from Pro Football Network on a couple times. And I really listen. He's a Belichick disciple. He is a Bronx guy. He is gritty. I thought he was going to be like Coach of the Year candidate. There's a lot of stench coming out of Miami. I don't know if you've seen these stories, but I mean, He was letting Tua know,
yes,
I didn't want you. I really can't stand you. We're never going to win with you. And you don't.
That's how you build up a young quarterback. You make them go through even more adversity.
You have to honor and recognize Tua for what he is. He's a good kid. And it sounds like from reports, he stood up to Flores at the end of the season in like the second to last game and said, that's not how you speak to people. That's not how you speak to men. And I got to tell you, I'm disappointed in what I'm hearing out of Miami with all these reports. And he blew through coordinators because he just didn't have those relationship building skills. So it's crazy, but the hot take is he's probably going to be introduced as Houston's head coach any minute now if it's not Gerard Mayo. So pretty crazy, but I do see Flores getting another head coaching gig before the month is out, quite honestly.
And real quick, and touch on that, I don't want to belabor the point, but like you said, like Matt was talking about last week, the whole having some time to reflect. I would think, given those circumstances, that's a guy who probably needs to reflect a little bit on the situation and say, no, I don't think so either. Unfortunately, what you know what? If he goes to Houston, fine, because what worried me is that he would go to a place like Chicago, take on Justin Fields, and go through that same type of situation with the young quarterback there. Whereas you go to Houston, I mean, you got Davis Mills, but I mean, you know what? Anywhere he goes is a team that needs a coach, which means they're not doing well, which means they probably have or are going to be getting a young quarterback, which means this cycle might repeat itself anyway. So, you know what? If you don't learn the first time, you're bound to suffer the same fate.
Flo, come back to New England, settle down as a coordinator or a coach again, and
come back in and replace Gerard Mayo, who actually gets a job in Denver or somewhere else, but whatever. All right, so that's a good one. Go in. Third down. My third down. I'm actually going to stay in the NFL. This isn't going to be very heavy at all. This is really going to be more just a venting. Real quick, something that's bothered me for a long time, and I realized this is a great place to just throw it out there. I really, for the most part, can't stand most NFL play-by-play announcers. They are goddamn insufferable. When I feel like, and probably the Patriots included for other fans of teams, right? Touchdown calls. Everything is like the hand of God touched your player and delivered him into the end zone to win the Super Bowl.
Right.
Everything is deep from your loins, screaming that your player, the player in your touchdown Titans. Like everything has to be over the top. At some point, shut the hell up. Get over yourself. It's effing annoying. I can't stand it. Like, take it down a notch. That's just my hot take on general NFL play-by-play announcers calling touchdowns. Get over yourself. You don't have to act like you are the next coming of Howard Cosell. That's my third down. That's our 3 and out. All right. That pretty much wraps up the show for this week. Before we go, of course, we're going to go just shout out to everyone who continues to support us. We appreciate it. Shout out to our boys over on the Run In Podcast who are always supporting us as well. Tommy Paradise, DJ, big supporters. Appreciate it. If you haven't checked them out, the Run In Podcast is an awesome show covering the worlds of wrestling and figures. Two worlds meeting together, smashing heads. Good show. Go check them out. Again, a reminder, if you're watching us on YouTube, like, subscribe, turn notifications on so you don't miss a show. Audio is also available on almost every podcast provider if you're not listening already. Anchor, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts, Stitcher, etc. You can find us basically anywhere. If you are listening, please rate and review. We need them. We appreciate them. Thank you. Make sure you're following us on social, especially now as we're running. By the time you listen to this, it'll be over. We are running some giveaways now on Instagram. Number two, throw them up to 2 Padres Pod on Instagram, Twitter, even TikTok. No dancing videos still as of yet, but we're working on that. Sundance is going to get out of his Patriots onesie, get into some dancing gear, throw on some dancing shoes, do a little TikTok action. Watch out for it. Again, Dos Padres Podcast on Facebook. All part of the World Takeover. Come join us for the ride. All right, we're back next week. We're going to continue the playoff preview. Not really a preview at that point, but more of like an update. We're going to talk about what games, the results that came in over this weekend, what's coming up with those, with Green Bay and the Titans coming off the bye, who they've got, etc. We'll probably have some other fun segments of this and that, this or that, whatever you want to call it. Who knows, top fives. We've been planning it out. It's going to be fun regardless. Come back, check it out. We are going to be announcing some winners for the 3-day giveaway, the 3-day Dos Padres giveaway. It's happening again on Instagram. So those are start to be kind of flowing a little more over the next few months. So make sure you're checking those out as well. We got some good stuff we're going to be kind of giving away to try to get people on the bandwagon. Also, thanks to our friend Lone Star L. Al, thanks for joining us tonight. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right.
Great. Have fun.
All right. So until next week, that's Sundance Kid, Lone Star Al, Major J, Dos Padres, +1, Hasta tus sueños. We are out.